Howdy folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am your host, the Mighty Bjorn, and today for you I have an Armored Warfare replay, and I'm featuring myself in the Griffin 50mm, and well, actually it's the Griffin 3 if we really want to split hairs. I'll get to that in a little bit. This is PV Hardcore Operation Phalanx. I'm going to talk a bit about the Griffin here, about the development, and essentially this is a vehicle that's only in development, and it is still currently in development. As a bit of a disclaimer, there's not a ton of information to really go over. First notice of the Griffin was at the USAS annual meeting in 2016. General Dynamics would unveil the Griffin 120. That's how we know of it in game. It's actually the first model of the Griffin, or the Griffin TD, which is Technical Demonstrator, not Tank Destroyer. The Griffin 120 was designed with the idea of a lightweight vehicle with a large caliber gun to provide infantry support for infantry teams. The turret is an all-welded aluminum construction, and it was armed with an XM 360 120mm lightweight gun. The XM 360 itself was developed as part of the FCS program, Future Combat Systems program. The next vehicle in the lineup was the Griffin 2. The Griffin 2 was designed as another mobile fire support platform. This version would mount an XM 35 105mm gun, and the XM 35 105mm gun was originally designed for the M8 Ridgeway, or how we know it in game, the M8 Buford. A contract was awarded to General Dynamics in December of 2018 for an initial run of 12 prototype vehicles. In 2020, General Dynamics would deliver the first of the 12 prototypes. The Griffin 3 was the next variant of the Griffin series. The Griffin 3 was unveiled at the 2018 ASUS Exposition, and it was being offered to the U.S. Army for the next generation combat vehicle program. This is the program that's supposedly one day going to replace the Bradley, or will, maybe, who knows. Military spends a lot of money on different projects that they never follow through on. It was designed. The Griffin 3 was designed to carry 6 infantrymen in the back. The 105mm gun was swapped out for a 50mm autocannon, the Griffin 50. The Griffin 3 was also equipped with an Iron Fist APS, which is also in game as well. That's the hard kill APS, for those of you who don't know. The information about the Griffin past this point is very unclear, and mostly what it has to do with is the fact that it is still a prototype vehicle that is still in development. They're still making decisions on it, things of that nature, general design features. However, that being said, it has not been officially adopted yet, and that probably won't be for a while yet, considering the first prototype did not arrive until December of 2020. I'm sure by this point they are beginning to do trials on the said prototype, but it's still going to take more time because it's going to have to go through various testing of all the different systems, including a 1,000-mile endurance test. To pretty well they'll run the vehicle ragged for about 1,000 miles and see how it holds up to abuse, see what kind of abuse it can take, what kind of a maintenance is needed within that 1,000-mile range, how much fuel does it use, things of that nature. That's all part of these endurance tests that they go through, not just the targeting systems and the gunnery systems, as well as there will be tests done to the targeting systems and the gunnery systems themselves. They'll also get feedback from the crews to see where they feel the vehicle could be improved, things of that nature. And then they'll go through the process in discussing the actual contract of the vehicle itself. That's more or less how every vehicle in the U.S. military has been adopted over the years. They go through different testing, negotiations, and etc., and then the vehicles are adopted. However, that being said, it could be said that the Abrams had a little bit of lobbying behind it. The Chrysler version of the Abrams had a little bit of lobbying behind it over the General Motors version of the XM1 Abrams, but that was another video for another time. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about both versions of the Griffin in-game. As one, you have an AFV variant, which can carry an infantryman. In mine, I am carrying a mortar crew, just for the memes. And it does have a good 50mm cannon. The rounds have a decent penetration to them and can even penetrate most main battle tanks fairly easily on the sides and the rear, especially once you get the upgraded 50mm ammunition for the Griffin 50. It's got really good camouflage as well as a decent spotting range. The speed is not bad. It feels better than the Bradley acceleration-wise, but I don't know. It still kind of feels sluggish for an AFV, in my opinion. The next one I want to talk about is also the Tier 8 Premium Griffin, which is the Griffin 120, or the Griffin Technical Demonstrator, if you will, where it mounts the 120mm main gun. Now, that being said, the vehicle isn't bad either. I feel it's a decent sniper. It is a light tank, but honestly, to me, it feels kind of more like a tank destroyer, where you just kind of want to sit in the back row and you just kind of want to lob 120mm rounds at enemy tanks. And it works pretty good at doing said feat, as well as it's actually got improved armor protection over the Griffin 50, as it also has the ERA package as well as cage armor, covering a fair chunk of the glacis plate on the front. Either way, it's not a bad vehicle. It's got, once again, it's got decent camouflage, it's got decent speed. It's not, honestly, when it comes to speed and acceleration, the M8 feels better than the Griffin 120. However, that being said, the firepower of the Griffin 120 is definitely an improvement over the Buford, considering the Buford at Tier 8 has the 105mm main gun, where the Griffin 120 obviously has the 120mm main gun. Now, it does sacrifice the infantrymen. You cannot carry the infantrymen in the Griffin 120 or the Griffin Technical Demonstrator, if you will. Now, that being said, who knows, maybe in the future we will see these Griffin 120s out in the field. Other than that, same way with the Griffin 50. Other than that, though, it's still in the design phase. They're still making decisions on the said vehicle, things of that nature. Either way, folks, I'm literally going to wrap up this Armored Warfare replay here. There's still like 20 some odd seconds left to the replay, but that being said, it just gets capped out. So let's go over the results here. It was a victory on Operation Phalanx. I would do little over 24,000 damage. I would spot 16 enemy vehicles using my good spotting range in the vehicle, as well as I have optics on it. And I would destroy 13 enemy vehicles, and I would grab myself the Blue Star. That being said, overall, I would be the top dog for spotting damage, as well as the top dog for actual damage. That being said, though, I was a Tier 8 rocking it out with a bunch of Tier 3s. I pretty much can say I wouldn't expect any less, honestly, for the Griffin. It is a really good Tier 8 IFV, and it is, the Griffin 120 makes for a decent Tier 8 light tank, at least in my opinion. Anyway, folks, that is my replay featuring the Griffin. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Thank you very much for tuning in, and have yourself a wonderful day.